Hi there. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how we can deliver real-time push notifications to any user that is mentioned in a chatter post. So many companies, of course, utilizing tools like Slack and Microsoft Teams to collaborate now, but chatter remains a really valuable tool for providing contextual updates and for enlisting support on certain cases or leads or deals as needed. And so this is for those companies to be able to really grab attention when needed and deliver push notifications that the user can kind of organize and manage themselves and react accordingly. So firstly, let's see this in action then. So if I quickly expand, I'm on a case now, and if I expand chatter feed and mention myself in a quick post, here's a case that has been sat idle, need help. Sure, you've got more realistic use cases there, but if I quickly post that, and then 3, 2, 1, we should see that notification arrive. There we are. So that's arrived via our Act on It message inbox. It doesn't necessarily have to pop up if that's intrusive. We can have it subtly highlight and various other ways of delivering this message. The key point here is now as I've got this message in a nice organized, filterable, actionable inbox. So I can see that the core message here, if the message is quite large, I can actually hover over to see the full body of the message instead so it doesn't clog this feed. And I'll be able to react accordingly. So I could first of all click through and immediately see the chatter feed where I can respond to this message directly, or I can use a quick action here to actually navigate to the related record, which in this case is a case record here. And as with all notifications in Salesforce, I can close, I can snooze the message, I can save the message for later under the save section here if I'm not ready to action it immediately. And if I want to quieten down the inbox and actually jump to chatter posts generally, I've got a new category here, but I'm going to show that I can filter by message type or notification type to chatter mentions, and I can filter by today's date to isolate the ones that are relevant to me. So that's really helpful if as a user, to be able to be notified of when I mention the post and be able to react quickly. So how does this all work in the back end then? So what I've done is I've created a very simple flow here. This is triggered, it's a record triggered flow triggered off the creation of a feed item. A feed item is a chatter post essentially. And what we're doing in this flow here is we are first of all checking the type of feed item because there's various types of feed items that to be posted. And I'm making sure that this is only triggered on a text post, which is when a user physically enters a post in a feed and mentions a user. We're then calling a custom action that we've created as part of the Act on It application called get at mentioned users. It's a very simple action, but what it does is it allows you to pass in the feed item ID or the feed comment ID, and it will return a list of any user that was directly or indirectly at mentioned. And when I say indirectly, that's if they are a member of a group that was mentioned, so a chatter group. If they're mentioned, if they're mentioned, their group is mentioned, then they'll get that notification as well. They'll be returned here. We're then checking that there are any results. There's no point in proceeding to fire a message if there are no recipients or people to target. And if there are, we're then calling the second packaged action, which is called publish message, which is our way of delivering the push notification via Act on It. So if we can quickly glance at the configuration here, the first thing to notice here is there's a chatter mention message type developer name. So what is that? If you're not familiar with the application, Act on It has something called a message type, which controls the content, the design, the actions that are available, and how that message will be delivered. So here's our chatter mention configuration here, and it's just refers to this developer name here. That's all that's required to post messages using Flow, and the rest can be configured from this space here. So this should look recognizable to you there. You can see this is where I've configured all the messaging, added our open record action, etc. So then what I'm doing is I'm passing the message, the body of the feed into the message as well. So that's why we see that appearing here in the message itself, or you could default to a generic message like this one. You have been mentioned in the chatter post, click to view the details, or rather hover over to see the details. And then I'm passing in our mentioned user IDs and the recipients list input here. So we're taking all of those users that we've identified have been mentioned in the chatter post, and we're passing them into this recipient list. That's who we're going to target with our notification. Then we're passing in the feed item ID into the record. So we could actually pass in the parent ID if we wanted to, depending on the use case, but we're going to pass in the actual chatter post, which is why when we click this button here, we're immediately, this one here, we're immediately directed to the post itself because that's the record that's linked to this notification. And then we're adding a quick source here for chatter post so we can, in our reporting, identify where this message originates. So there's various other settings I've skipped there. The flow is not entirely following best practice. It's a very simple example, but you can expand and build on this as you need to. For example, if you want to only send posts for a certain type of notification, you can then look at the parent record, query the parent record, and decide what you want to do and whether you want to fire that message. But this is generally how it's done, nice and simple to really grab your attention, your user's attention when needed. So hopefully that's been helpful. If you have any questions or if you encounter any challenges setting this up, please do reach out to us at help@overlayapps.com and we'll gladly help you. Thank you very much for watching.